Oh man, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boys. Time to have some fun tonight. Welcome to the first episode of the Activator Stagnate Show. I'm your boy, GG. That's right. It was the GG Factor, but tonight I'm taking it to another level, man. I want to get a little personal with you. Welcome out there on YouTube. Welcome on Facebook. Welcome over there, man. Everywhere. There's anybody that's watching me tonight, Instagram. Thank you, man. Go out and tell somebody that the Activator's in the house tonight. Because, man, we got so much going on in America right now that I just want to be the one to talk to you, give you some insights, what's trending, what's kicking us around right now, what you need to do about it. So once again, welcome to the first episode of the Activator Stagnate Show. Your host, Gregory Griffith, and I'm looking forward to having a great time tonight. Sip my tea on that. Well, you know, the little musician, man, I have to kick off with a little something to just kind of, get that groove going. Well, tonight, this is the last day in the month of June. So how about the music? If we start to talk about what's going on around us, it's a game changer. Well, once again, this is it. Today is Tuesday. Tomorrow will be a new month. And you know, every time we turn around, every time we get up, every time we wake up, 47 and the boys doing something that we don't understand what's going on. I mean, man, one of the big things that's trending right now that I might as well come right out of the box about is that the Supreme Court struck him down. He tried to stop the birthright citizenship movement. He said, no, but they said, no, also. So at the end of the day, all I can say to you is this, that you know, I think it's the 14th Amendment that we're talking about right now that says that anyone born in this U.S. of A. is a natural born citizen. So shout out to anybody who's came up from any other country. Y'all got together and something happened. You had a little one, then they all right, whether you are a citizen or not. So that's right out of the box. That's some great news I need to share with you. So I just wanted everybody to know that tonight. And most importantly, that, you know, we are a nation of just a heterogeneous nature of people from all over the world. And it's pretty sad to think that, you know, lately it's been a real struggle with that. And don't get me wrong, before I get too far into the show tonight, I do believe in due diligence. I do believe that we should all follow the correct protocol to come into the U.S. of A. But once you're here, even if you didn't come in the right way, and you've been here about 10 years, you got yourself a business, you got a beautiful wife and husband, you got a couple of kids, you got your life going on, and then ICE show up and take them from you. See something scary about that? That's the thing that they were talking about on The View the other day. That's what they were talking about the other day on Bill Maher and on CNN. You know, everybody talking about it but Fox. You know, AM 610 that I watch to make sure I get the left and I get the right and I get the guys who are sitting on the bench. So right out of the box tonight, from a political perspective, you got to be real careful about what you're trying to quantify out here because, man, unless you can quantify, it's a subjective lie. And I've been able to just really honestly say we have been put in some positions where people like Alex Jones, you know, InfoWars, I'm glad he's been kicked off the board, wherever he is right now. Other people who just come out here, get them a cohort of people, start something, get people believing in them, and it almost becomes like a subjective cult, you know? But oh boy, I want to talk about something that's quantifiable and real. The former President Barack Obama. Come on, somebody. We gotta make some noise right now on the first Activator Stagnate Show. Woo, woo, woo. I'm telling you, man, because I'm so fired up about my first visit back to Chicago because I hadn't been there since it was a real cold winter many years ago. And I tell you, I don't know how they live there. I don't know how they do it. They call it the Windy City for a reason, but it's a beautiful place. I'll never forget when I was running my marathons. I was there one summer running around State and Rush Street. Great place to be, but the Barack Obama Presidential Museum. And I'm guilty as charged because the week that they were having all those inaugural activities going on, I was very honored to be, or should I say, a presenter for the Blacks in Government regional conference they had. myself, and shout out to my man, Dr. Robert Lemon. You know, we took a Jedi straight on up, man, jumped in the car together and just say we just cruising and get together because he's my first mentor from way back in the day. He's retired, I'm retired. You know, we both got our books here. We both are speaking. And I think it's about my third presentation for Blacks in Government. But let me tell you something. Speaking of Blacks in Government, Monica Baker is going to be one of my special guests. She is one of these, should I say, most honorable, most dedicated people to the cause for Blacks in Government. She has really been at the forefront. There's so many other ones there that are Miss Mercer. There are just so many other people that are doing incredible things in Blacks in Government. And my first experience was with them at the national conference in my hometown, Tampa, Florida. But Monica Baker is going to come on. She's going to break it down and give you the 411, the 101 on what's going on with things like DEI. What's going on with things like redistricting? What's going on with things is it Warnock? Forgive me, man. The guy who's the senator in Georgia. He was on Bill. He's been all over the place because he got a brand new book, and he's talking about that. There are people raising a high bar on what's going on in this country right now with the present government. It's kind of scary. You know, we've given our first billionaire the seat in the White House, and man, he almost forgot that it's still somebody else's house because he's just there for a moment. He's changing this, he's changing that. He tried to change the big pool out there at the Washington Monument. Everything turned green and full of algae. He's trying to do all kinds of things, man. A lot of it is backfiring. And all I can say to you is this. I'm going to segue to something that's critically important right now because I'm going to tell you something. In this country, do you know that 4 out of 10 people don't vote? And I'm going to wrap up my little political segment tonight. Do you know that 4 out of 10 people in America are not voting? And that is why when we have things that happen in this country that raise the red flag, when we have things that happen in this country when they just seem to be obscured and we just tend to just move on, I'm telling you right now that that's a game changer when you start to say, let's get out of here and do something about what's going on to change the narrative around government. And, you know, as I wrap it up, I cannot wrap up without talking about what's trending right now. You know, that they just had some big elections up there, and the mayor of New York City and his cohort of what they call the new Democratic Socialists man, they're on the move. And there's been this big sort of conversation around the country about this new movement for the Democratic Party versus the old school guys like me. You know, because the new school seems to be speaking a sort of narrative that I got some issues with. They're talking about taking away the policemen, doing something different with the prison systems. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and tell you I can micromanage everything that's going on, but the point is this, that there's a movement from a political perspective right now. And what we all need to do is sometimes, man, I know you're working, you got the kids, I know you got your business. Stop, slow down, you know, like I'm doing right now. Take a little sip of your tea and sit back, man, and turn on all these networks because, can I honestly say, there's a movement going on. And it's going to be reminiscent to the Vietnam era. The young people were let's go back to Barack Obama. They said that if it wasn't for the movement of the young people getting online with the social movement, he might not have been the president. I beg to differ because all I remember, he was a rock star. I can remember he came here to my town here in beautiful South Florida, and he showed up at back then, it's called the Amron Center right now, this big convention center that we got 20,000 people, and we stood outside for 3 or 4 hours to get in because he was the one that everybody was waiting on. This was during his campaign. And guess what? There are a lot of people still talking about him in a very negative way. You know, and it's a sad reality because, you know, Barack Obama was asked the question, why does this administration seem to keep you on the radar? He said, well, I guess I must have done something to agitate. You know, and like John Lewis said, because we just got over Juneteenth, when I was up there with Blacks in Government, you got to be about that good trouble, baby. Are you about that good trouble? Are you one of the 410 that don't vote? Are you one of the 4 or 10 that's on the other side that do vote? Because your voice matters. We got a new cohort of people coming up with a different sort of language about the Democratic Party. Some of it is good, some of it is subjective, some of it you just have to say, I don't know. But don't be one of the ones sitting on the sideline wondering what to do. As my show said, you got to be an activator. I changed the name of my show tonight for one reason. I think all the things I've been through in my life, all I've endured, and I wrote my book behind me called Activate or Stagnate. That book was written 20 years ago. And the reason why I wrote it is because I realized that when you got an action plan about your mind, body, and spirit, when you got an action plan about what's going on with your emotional state, you got an action plan about, the way you're raising your kids. You got an action. In other words, you are taking action about the things that matter in your life, because people by default live with what I call organized chaos. And they sit on the bench of life and they get into the comfort zone and some things happen, man. As a teacher, retired after 31 years, it's not too much I didn't get to see in that capacity. And some of the kids were really, you forgot who was the parent and who was the kid, because they didn't have the right parenting action plan. I'm proud to say that I'm the parent of 2 college graduates, and a beautiful granddaughter is just about to start college this fall. Shout out to Alyssa Griffith. She'll be 18 years old this summer and going to HCC and then transferring over to USF in Tampa, Florida. And I'm just humble, so grateful that I can say that both my boys are doing really great. They got the paper, they got the credentials for life. And they've been able to do something that I always dreamed of, man. Just live a life that's just beyond what you could ever imagine. And I'm saying this to you tonight. Get your action plan for the next level. I'm going to share a few things with you because the way things are in our economy right now, I want to shift gears. I want to talk about what happened with the war and the ramifications of those actions. The long time delay on the Strait of Hormuz opening, the Ukrainian war, dealing with the Russians, the horrible situation with the Israelis and Hamas. Just, we've had over the last year or so, just a horrific resurfacing of this violent way of ending things. I don't know the statistical data or how many people probably in total have died just from war. I'm going to take a drink of my water. I want you all to think about that. And innocent civilians. A lot of the casualties were people in combat, but how about the innocent civilians? It's scary, man. And everything that happened with war is a domino effect, and not just talking about fatalities, the economics of it all, the mental anguish of it all, the agricultural perspective of it all. Did you know that the reason why Russia want to take over the Ukraine is because they produce 40% of the grain in that region? 40% of the grain in that region. And you think the Putin have enough already, but they want more, they want more, they want more, they want more. It's just something going on with this power struggle. And I don't know, this goes all the way back to medieval times when it was always someone wanting to be in control and using that brute violence to make it happen. And now let's fast forward all the way until over the last, I don't know how many days that war going on. They say it's a ceasefire. Then you wake up 3 days later, somebody bombs somebody bombs somebody again. I don't know. There are a lot of hidden obscurities going on with this that we are now feeling the ramifications from. I wrote this data down. Do you all know that? I think they said car prices just went up about 20%. Do you know that the price of a computer, Apple just said they're getting ready to raise all the prices because all these computer chips, all these pieces and all these things that these ships was all backed up and waiting to deliver. They couldn't, just stagnated everything. Because I do remember it's kind of easy now with that gas situation, but man, we've had some very unbelievable things going on that I'm speaking right now as the giant populace, the 340 million people in America got to do. You got to learn to take a pivot. And the Activated Stagnate show, I want to give you alternatives to an establishment. And I don't care if it's just sports. I don't care if it's a restaurant. I don't care if it's computer tech. I don't care if it's a mechanic. You got to realize when you can monetize your passion, something happens in your life. You kind of always be ahead of the curve. I had lunch last week with my son's cousin. Shout out to Chris Cammett at Cammett Estates up there in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Incredible young man. I'm looking forward to having him on the show to talk to you about entrepreneurship. And the man did the very thing that I've done. He still worked in corporate America, still working there, building communities for people. Got Airbnbs all over the place and still understanding he can do what he want, when he want, however he want. And my point I'm making is this, because he took the idea of real estate and lifted it to another level. Something you can do in your life, even on your job, that you can take it to the next level. And the thing that a lot of people don't realize is that they get in the comfort zone. And tonight, that's what this show, kicking it off, is all about. Taking action, avoiding procrastination to the point that you stagnate. And then you let things like the fear of failure, pain points, you start hanging out in toxic environments, being around toxic people. Every Thursday night, I have a Strive Masterclass. It is where I micromanage people in my Get Activated community, my 30 Days to New You MPC, which is Maximum Potential Coaching. We get really real and micromanage what's going on out here and what we need to do about it. This show is to tell you about the things that are going on from a macro perspective. The Thursday night show is to get micro. Now, I'll make some suggestions. I'll tell anyone, and I'm going to use somebody like LeBron James. Look at Sabrina Venus, man. Sabrina took a hiatus from her tennis and said, I want to come on back and I'm going to take my sister with me because of what? The intellectual property. LeBron James is 41 years old and he can still be a free agent and somebody going to pick him up. Woo! I'm telling you right now, I don't know if you watch the BET Awards the other night. Woo! Buddy, let me tell you, man, when you speaking from a musical perspective, me being a musician all of my life, I'm still in the entertainment business, still going out here playing country clubs, doing weddings, private parties. Hey, I'm still making some money, enjoying what I do post-retirement. And the point I'm making to you is this, man. When you got something that you just love to do, and against all odds, you'll just do it no matter what, whether you even got paid or not. That's your activated, that's your, should I say, just undeniable movement to the next level. Nothing will stop you. But you got to be so focused about it. You got to be so disciplined about it. You got to have your faith faculty activated about it. Let me tell you something. I'm going to grab one of my old books back here and shout out to the Reverend Kevin Ross. He came here to stay at my house for a few weeks and hang out days or whatever it was many years ago. And he left this book, this simple little book, Humans in Training. You got to get the hit. Unconditional plug. This book was published back in 1995, but it's so relevant right now because one of the pages in this book, and I decided tonight, I said, I got to open it. And the page starts on the very first chapter 1, and maybe you'll get this book. This author's name is J.D. Allen, and you know what he's talking about? If you all can see that over there on YouTube, if you can see that on IG, if you can see it over there on Facebook, listen to me. Your inner power. And he said something here, and I highlighted it. He said that there has been an enormous increase in knowledge and technology and in control over the physical forces of the outer world, that external world you hear Mr. G talking about. But There has not been a corresponding increase in inner control, inner self knowledge, and self discipline. The reason I picked that book up and read directly from chapter one, your inner power, that inner power. Because when you connect to the internet, and my job as the activator to get you to live in alignment will get you to discover that. This is one of my 25 medals as a marathoner, 25 of them. Didn't even start running these things until I was over 40 years old. I tapped to the inner net. J.D. Allen talking about that. Hiram Smith, he's got another book here. I'm just going to, every week, I'm going to try to find publications. I'm almost certain my hostess Moses with me on Thursday night can attest to it. We probably got 1,000 books in this house. One of the rooms up there, nothing but books, a little library. No, my studio, one corner over there, nothing but books. And every now and then, one of them will speak to me. And that book spoke to me. A couple of other ones just spoke to me. I say, you know what? On the first episode of the show tonight, I want to quantify what other people are saying that we need to do. And we're only 20 minutes into this tonight, but I want you to know something. I open things by talking to you about what politically is going on, what economically is going on, what's trending out here that's really impacting us in a way that we all need to be a little bit ahead of that curve. And the greatest power you could ever have to beat whatever's going on in your external world and the outer world, you heard what my man J.D. Allen just said. There's this big resurgence. He wrote this book 20-some years ago, and he was already talking about the movement in technology. But then he was talking about the blatant apathy about coming to that which is within you. You do not have to be the most religious person. But tonight, Gregory Griffith is going to stand firm that you better be spiritual. You have to be. Because as we can see, there's some negative forces out there. When I reminisce to that situation with the Israelis and they were just having a nice concert, and these sick people just came over and maliciously murdered and kidnapped these people. I would never forget the feeling I had from that. The same way when I was still a teacher and I walked out of my classroom when 9/11 had happened. And I'll never forget that feeling that I went to go in the bathroom. And when I walked out the door, one of my colleagues was like almost boo-hoo crying, and she was shaking and she was terrified. She said, I don't think you heard what happened. Some sick people would just crash into the Twin Towers. And guess what? And here's the point I'm trying to validate and quantify with you. They said it was in the name of their God. Gracious mercy. Thousands of people, all kind of people post 9/11 got all kind of cancers and all kind of things going on because of a sick mentality out here. That is the only force field you got against that is to develop your inner winner. If you don't like me talking about nothing spiritual, shut off my show. Don't come on my show because you're going to get some of it every week. There's going to be a segment about what you can do to take where you are to the next level, but you cannot do it without activating your faith faculty. The other night I was watching the NBA draft, and I always like to watch it every now and then. Shout out to Rachel Brown and Kyle Brown. And I'm thinking about them all the time because my singer Rachel, who's worked with me for over 20 plus years, using her intellectual property as a vocalist, we garnered the #1 single in Billboard CD single. It can be done. I'm just an average Joe. She's just an average little girl right out of Lumpton, Texas, but the rest is history. Her son right now, 6 foot, 10 inch tall, just graduated from college and jumping out there to jump into the NBA or go overseas and play because he developed the intellectual property. He got his degree in business, but he also developed the intellectual property in sports. It can be done. You could be the game changer in your family. And when I watched that draft the other night, every single one of those boys who stood up, I give all glory to God. Not one, I don't remember hardly the other thing, the parents, the coaches, and every boy, but they stopped and they gave a toast to the man within them, the power within them, greater than anything out there tonight. Are you discovering where the real source is? It's nowhere in your external world. Are you even aware of the source? You know, I watched this guy, Bill Maher. I like him, but what I don't like about him, he's saying he's an atheist. And I have to, you know, as much as he's quantifying, as much as his show is out of sight and incredible, I still have to give him a double take. I have to lean in on Bill because he's missing the mark. Just my opinion. This is my show. I got a right to say that. For some reason, when I saw Ronald Reagan's son doing a big commercial about the Organization of Atheists, I said, wow, am I missing something? Who could live on this planet and know if the birds that fly in the sky, then why not you and I? There's some power is behind that. When airplanes can just lift off the ground, when ships can still sail, there are proverbs that speak about this. And somebody needs to give a little whoop whoop out to the people who seem to be in denial, excuse me, a little tongue tire. And the point I'm making about all of this, it comes full circle. Tonight's show is about giving you the alternatives to the establishment. Live your life in alignment. Find it. I know people think making a lot of money is everything, but what is that if you're not healthy? I know people want to look like, you know, Denzel Washington and Halle Berry and walk around like they're walking models, but they have no spiritual foundation. Living with imbalance is organized chaos. The Activated Stagnate show will give you the alternative. I've been on this planet about 7 decades now, pushing my next birthday coming up in November. I'm feeling all right. And I think the strategic way that I've gone about my life that caused me to write that book that was placed in all vocational schools in Broward County, endorsed by the assistant superintendent, turned around and wrote that book. It gives me a platform to stand on that I can say I'm the authority on peak performance. I'm the authority on when you're a full-time teacher, you can still be a real estate investor. And somebody who's been agonized by the current temperament in this country right now because of the global activity, you can rise above that. You can rise above that. I remember COVID-19. If I hadn't been an entrepreneur and a teacher too, I wonder if I would have got through it, but I did. Because one thing they say about anyone who's very successful in life, you got to have multiple income streams. That was one of my little reels I did today on Instagram or a couple of days ago. Successful people have multiple income streams. Now, at this point in the show, I'm just going to put a shout out there. On Thursday nights, I have the Scribe Masterclass. And it's an open forum. The class is free, but I also have an open forum for you to come into what I call my Get Activated community. If you're online checking this out tonight, or if you want to come back to one of the episodes, everything will be in the description. All you have to do is go to my website, theactivator.net. Click the Get Activated community, come into it, and trust me, it is a game changer about you being able to take my personal assessment, my personal empowerment assessment. My nonprofit organization is called the Personal Empowerment Recognition Program, for short PERP, P-E-R-P. Your personal development is priceless, and it never, ever stops. It never stops. Even at retirement for me, I'm enjoying this post-retirement ride right now. I know one thing they said, and I'm a big advocate of that. You must stay activated. Even after your job is over, you don't put your 30 or 40 years in. You better find something that keeps your cognitive stimulated, keeps your physical moving, and that you continuously try to grow from a spiritual perspective. Every week, we will talk about what it means to do that, how to be that way. One of the first things you have to do, and I'm going to shift gears into some things that I offer on Thursday nights that I'm going to start doing every Tuesday night right now. One of the most important things that anyone can do is understand that the most important and critical thing is time management. There's a book here, another one I'm going to give an unconditional plug to. And this one was, I don't remember how long ago this book was written, but Hiram W. Smith, another one here that you might want to pick up and go into and put in your library. This man right here speaks about the 10 natural laws of successful time and life management. What you do with your time, how you manage your life, lifestyle management, personal development management. And guess what? It's incredibly amazing to me. I don't know if I left it sticky to the right page here or not. I don't know if I did or not. Yeah, this is what he said about time and why you have to control this. He said, what can you control? This is his question of Mr. Hiram Smith. In this book, millions of copies sold. One of the greatest corporate trainers in all of corporate America, Hiram Smith. John Maxwell, all kind of people endorse him. But the point I want to make to you about this book tonight, and I did it intentionally, it says, the only thing you have absolute and total control over is you and what you do with your time in your mind, your body, and your spirit. Alignment is a non-negotiable. You don't have to listen to me. It might still be in print. It's an old book, but I tell you what, you go out and get it. And you know what he did? He suggested this, and tonight, this is one of my little takeaways for you to do. He said, make a list of some of the different events in your life. Then assign each event a number system from 1 and he listed some things. He said, like, what time you getting out of bed? Number 5. You have total control over that. Quit hitting that snooze button. Quit hitting that snooze button. Or you got to be like me. I got 2 alarm clocks, and I ain't going to lie to you. Some mornings it's hard to get out of the bed. But Mr. Hiram Smith saying, you gotta control your time. He wrote that one first. The time I get out of bed, what I can eat. I don't want to get too deep about that. But your health is your wealth, and you are what you eat. See, I don't eat pork and beef no more at all. If somebody throws something on a little pizza or something like that, I ain't going to die. I'll go ahead and devour it. But to sit down and eat a steak, for Gregory Griffith to sit down and eat a pork chop or sit down and eat a hamburger? Oh, no. I can quantify that the toxins that kind of meat leave in your body is bad. That's a starter right there. And he's talking about that. The first 2 things, what time I get out of my bed, what do I eat? He gave a number 4 for that. Remember, 5 is the highest that you control it. And then he said, what I want to wear today, what's my dress code? And you know something? I have something called the OPA factor. Are you exhibiting the optimum physical appearance when you walk out your door every day? Notice what he did. What time I get out of bed, what I eat, what I put on my back and walk out the door. And based on your job, if there's not a dress code, you're the captain of that ship. And man, as a teacher for 31 years, the way some people would show up to work and knowing that you're impacting young minds, they can't get past the way you look and your clothes all wrinkled. You got some more dingy looking shoes. Some people used to come with flip-flops and stuff. I said, wow, man, this, and the reason why I'm saying that, and I don't want to get away from this because number 3, he just mentioned, is critically important. Some of my greatest mentors were coaches and teachers. I have to admit that. Maybe aside from my brother becoming a teacher, my sister 33 years for Head Start, my mom a teacher assistant and an entrepreneur herself. Maybe that's why I just leaned and took a pivot as a musician, which we're going to talk about pivots before I wrap up tonight. But the point I'm making to you is this. You only get one time to have a first impression. Don't y'all hear me now? You only get one time to have that first impression. Nobody forgets it. And if you walk in and you fly and you got that swag and you walk in like they said, you own the room, woo, game changer. But if you walk in with that down frown like, oh man, I don't want to be up in here. And people doing that at their jobs because they're in toxic environments. They're in toxic environments. When I speak about pivots a little later, when I speak about toxic environments, you're going to understand why I say an activator, the one who's an activator, they recognize toxic people. Activators recognize toxic environments. They eradicate those bad habits. And that's all this man is talking about when it comes to the events and how you respond to them in this very powerful book. You ain't got to listen to me. I'm just using people right now and what they're talking about, you know. And I got one other one here about how to attract money. Because I know everybody out here hungry to make more money. The only thing Gregory Griffith is saying is that if you're making a whole lot of money, but you're sick, what good is it? You live in $1 million house, but you can't barely get up the steps. You can barely get out the bed. You can barely, go take a walk. What good is that going to do you? Or you're in an environment that's just very toxic in your own house. You know, you and your kids fighting all the time, or you and your significant other, or maybe even with your dog. He might get tired of you too. All jokes aside, you know what I'm saying, man. Organized chaos kills. The comfort zone to stagnation will kill you. I hope after tonight, a light bulb comes on with you. Come back, watch this episode. Gregory talking about mind, body, and spirit. Gregory talking about time management. Gregory talking about HIT. You're a human being, human in training. In my wall, it's like my spiritual cave in my bathroom. I walk up, and before I even sit down in the bathroom, one of the first things I got written there is, I am a spiritual being having human experiences. And I meant to read it today from my daily word. And the word was three words the daily word said today. I don't know if you ever heard of Unity Village and Unity Publications. Get the daily word. Go to dailyword.org, I think it is, or .com. But daily word, just Google it. You can get it free. I subscribe to them. But today's daily word on the last day in this month of June was, I am divine. Because what happens out here, we lose track. We get off the vibration. We get on the vibration of the external world, and we forget the real vibration is the inner world. And this man right here, and that guy J.D. Allen, this guy Joseph Murphy, I'm going to talk about in a couple of minutes, they all coming from a spiritual place first. It's incredible, all of them. So you don't have to trust me and believe in me. Try it for yourself right now. Get up 15 minutes earlier in the morning. Take 5 of those minutes and just be still, as Psalm 46:10 would say. And you will be shocked. What just might happen, the more peaceful you become, the more you start realizing that, oh, this matters. Because see, when there's silence, that's a conversation with the God in you. When there's silence, all of the chitter, the chatter, the reverberation of the world, you blocking it all out. And sometimes we just need to do that. Get activated from a spiritual perspective. I'm not lying to you. I walk in my bathroom. First thing I look at, it's been up there over 20 years, and I went in and did another marker to remind me I am a spiritual being having human experiences. Because I truly believe this, that this step that we're going through called life, this physical realm, man, this is a step along the way. This thing called life is eternal. We are ever evolving. Now, who knows until you meet the gatekeeper, what happens? That is why I'm giving you strategies while you're here right now, what you can do. On Thursday nights, theactivator.net is my website. It's a free ticket into my class. If you're not, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, or please follow me on Instagram, or follow me on Facebook. All of the time, I'm talking about what you can do to do what. Here's what you can do. And it's the truth. The first thing I'm talking about tonight is helping you define yourself. The second thing I'm talking to you about tonight is this: helping you activate your true, authentic identification. Your AI is priceless, not artificial intelligence. No. We're impacted by that, but your authentic identification, your AI. Activate your true AI. That's what this show is about. Next week, I've got Junior Acosta here from the Wolfpack, a mastermind group that I'm a part of. And that's how I met him. The week after that, she's coming up from Blacks in Government, another mastermind group. You got to say that if I'm the smartest one in my group, I need a bigger group. I need a better group. I got to do something about that. I'm hoping that this show will be a wake-up call to you. And if you need a mentor, that's the only thing I'm saying to you tonight. You can come to the Get Activated community or come to the 30 Days to a New You MPC, which stands for Maximum Potential Coaching. I brought you 2 publications tonight that I think will be game changers. If you come into my cohort, my group, my community, you get the electronic copy of that book and you get a hard copy of that book. Your choice based on what tier you come in. And the point I'm making is this. My book back there says 30 Days to a New You. And I'll even, so you can see a little bit better. 30 Days to a New You. The yellow section says what? A step-by-step guide to activate peak performance. A step-by-step guide to activate peak performance. I'm not bragging on myself when I hold up this medal. And there ain't no ego here, but I'm in an elite demographic, an elite cohort. There are few people can say they even ran 1 marathon, and I've done 25 of them. And then there's another elite group. I was already over 40. At the age of 50, I ran the New York City Marathon. And what am I talking to you about? Staying activated in your mind, body, and spirit starts with taking care of this, nurturing your spirit, and always be about cognitive expansion. That guy, Hiram Smith, is talking about time and life management for one reason. He starts it all off the same way J.D. Allen did. You got to go to the internet. Maybe you need a partner to do that. And the reason why it's kind of funny, my show is called Activate or Stagnate. My first book, Activate or Stagnate. And the fine print right here is the same thing. Strategies for your personal and business life to get and stay fired up for success. Strategies for your personal and business life to get and stay fired up. You can get a copy of this book. You can get a copy of this book. And all you can do is get me to help you micromanage your life, take my personal assessment test. That's all you got to do. Even if you don't even want to come into my community, this is a free consultation. If you come in, you go to theactivator.net, you click Get Activated Community. As soon as you click it, what's going to open is this personal assessment test. It's 10 simple questions, but oh boy, those 10 questions are game changers. I mean, simple questions like, do you have pain points? Do you have bad habits? Are you a procrastinator? Are you letting the fear of failure win the game of life for you? See, I'm speaking truth to you, man. I've answered all those questions to myself. And it came down to me determining that I needed to take a pivot. So I hope I can get someone to come into the class on Thursday nights. It's a free access. I do offer you other alternatives at the end of the class for you to take my little $27 bundle or my $9.97 a month MPC, which is Maximum Potential Coaching, where I can micromanage you after I look at your assessment. You take the personal assessment, then you take the PERP assessment. And then we sit down and we see where those pain points are. We see where the bad habits are. We see where the toxic people are, the toxic environments. Guess what? We all got them. I'm just going to speak truth to you tonight. We all got them. And sometimes you need a little help along the way. Whenever I do this show solo, it's going to be about personal development, how to get activated. It's going to be about taking your life to the next level. I said to define yourself, activate your AI, remember your authentic identification, become a better version of yourself through these principles. And most important, you'll function at your maximum potential. That's where everybody misses it. One of the first pages in my book says something like this. In each of us is an infinite amount of energy to reach our maximum potential. But you see, it's like a car. If you put the key in the ignition and you sit there and you don't pull it and drive, you're going to stagnate from procrastination. You got to pull your life and drive. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, you got to pull your life and drive. You got to get onto that highway to success. See, it's very simple. To be more, you simply got to be willing to give more. To be something you've never been, you got to be willing to do something that you've never done. And I had to learn that. I had to learn that the hard way. And I'm going to share my little story tonight before we wrap up, because I said this. I want to use me as an example. Every single week when I do this show solo, I try to remind people, I'm not extraordinary, but I think I've done some extraordinary things, like running 25 marathons, like buying millions of dollars in real estate, like writing 2 books while I was a full-time teacher, a head coach for cross country, running 2 marathons a year for a whole decade, 20 of them in 10 years. And all that power came from me finding the alignment, my friends. I'm speaking truth to you. I can quantify it. I ask this question every night when people who are sitting on the bench of procrastination and stagnated in their lives. This question will always raise the bar. Can you liquidate everything you got and walk away with $1 million? The Activated Stagnate Show will get that for you. Put you on the right track to get it. Can you liquidate everything that you own right now and walk away with $1 million? I don't care if you're 25, 35, 45, 75. It's never too late to manifest your greatness. Never, ever. Ask Louise Hay. She's a lady like 60-something years old and just decided to get into the motivational arena and took off with a blast. Ask Colonel Sanders. He was 68 years old or something, came up with that recipe for KFC. We all know the rest is history. Never too late to manifest your greatness. Here's my story, and I hope it motivates you to say, maybe I'm where Mr. G was back in the day. I've acknowledged to you that I'm a retired teacher. And I spent 31 years in the system. But before I was a professional in the field of education as a practitioner to facilitate educational services to the youth, I was a professional entertainer. Your passion will monetize you forever if it's your passion. I started playing in nightclubs when I was 16 years old. Shout out to my baby sister, Ruby Baker. She was our lead singer at 12 years old. When I went to see the Michael Jackson movie, it made me just reminisce about those days. We were playing in nightclubs at 16 years old. We were minors. My uncle and my sister and brother took us around to these clubs. Ruby looked like Pam Grier back there, big old Foxy Brown afro and them hips all over the place and doing her thing. She had a passion for music. Her tag on her car said, "Born to Sing." When I wrote about her in my first book, The Great One. There's so many great ones out there like Muhammad Ali. No, but I'm talking about somebody on the level like I am, but great. A local singer who gets the keys to the city. A local singer who goes off and tour with Gloria Estefan World Tour. Open for almost so many artists you can't even name them all. Ruby Baker, the great one. And here's the point I'm making. I stayed in music all my life, and I know it's why I'm still in it, because I got such a passion for it. I'm buying equipment as we speak to upgrade my studio. I met with one of my good old friends, man. Shout out to Ezra Sanders, incredible songwriter, producer. I'm talking about people who are living that passion, man, and doing what they do. Now, here's the point I want to make to you. When I had to take my pivot, it was because I was a brand new dad for the second time. My second son, Jonathan Griffith, shout out to him, man, was about a year old at the time. I'm working nightclubs all my life. All I did was do a little sub-teaching in the day, but I worked full-time as a musician. Bought my first BMW and my first house as a full-time musician, a professional musician, because I was getting paid. Whether I ever become a damn rock star or not, I still know how to make money in the music business. And the point I'm making tonight, when you got to take a pivot, make sure you pivot into something that you have a passion for, because it'll pay you for the rest of your life. Nobody can take away your knowledge. That poster was on my classroom board for about the last 15 years of my teaching. Knowledge is power. And I would always talk about this to kids. Activated knowledge is power. You got to stay activated about your passion or it will stagnate. I went to see one of my oldest childhood friends, family and friends, and all of us gathered around Chucky Daniels, made his transition. My oldest friend, all the way back to 4th grade. And a guy was there playing piano. And he did this song by Stevie Wonder called Ribbon in the Sky. And the point I want to make to you is this. That song is at least, I'm going to be conservative and rational about it and say, ooh, that was back in the 70s. Even if I said 1980, 90, 2000, 2010, 2020, that's still 45 years ago. And it sounded just like yesterday. Think about a song like All of Me from your boy John Legend. It's a wedding classic now. What can you do that will be a product or service that you can render forever, whether you're a rock star like these guys or not, but you can do it and it'll pay you. You don't have to worry about the economy. You don't have to worry about the stock market. You don't have to worry about nothing because your service is one they'll always need. That's why I took the pivot. I said, well, I'm going to stay in the music business. I'm never going to quit it. And I went to college. And here's the point I want to make to you. I love this so much. I say, man, what can I do and I don't have to quit my music, man? I love it so much. And I have said to myself, I love kids. I love working with them. And here's where there's a peek to this whole story. I didn't know if I could, but I got in graduate school. I didn't know if I could, but I had to get up for 52 Saturdays in a row. I didn't know if I could, but I had to stay in a nightclub till 2 or 3 in the morning on Friday night and be in Dr. Arlene Sykes' classes at Barry University. And if you came in at 8:01, she shut the damn door. You couldn't get in. She taught me time management back then. She taught me discipline back then. Respect authority back then. Respect her syllabus back then. I went to one of my gigs one night, and here's why my pivot happened. They told me I had a gig the next week. I didn't have that gig. But you know what I did have? A wife on pregnancy leave at that time. My young son, Jonathan, only about a year old. 7 other musicians that I'm responsible for giving them paychecks to. I've had the Gregory Griffith Productions, Omnigriff Corporation since 1992. That's the same year I became a teacher. Don't tell me you can't do it. Don't tell me you can't do it. Don't talk yourself out of it. I hope tonight fires you up. I hope tonight tell somebody to go back and watch this episode. I know what G said. It can be done against all odds. And one of my other posters in my classroom, and every week I remind people, the only limitation that exists are the ones you place upon yourself. If you say I can't, it's a sure shot that you won't. But if you just say, yes, I can. Yes, I will. Yes, I must trust the process. You must have the tenacity and the audacity to function in the capacity. And it took that for me to be a full-time musician. Oh, yeah, I got another gig, but I'm in graduate school. And even when I got my master's degree, Hurricane Andrew came to Dade County, Florida, wiped out all the schools. I said, oh, man, I'm just getting my master's degree. And I can't even get a job. But I had a praying mom, and God is good. I went right up to Broward County, hired me instantly, stayed there 4 years. Coming home from work one day, they built a new high school that I could walk to. I pleaded my case. I read my old resume the other day. I was upstairs cleaning up my office and repositioning, and I ran across my resume to Sarah Rogers. The school was called Triple E High School back then. And here's the point I want to make to you. I read my resume about my credentials. I had 4 years under my belt then. I had a master's degree then. When I was at Coconut Creek High School, I formed the first ESE lab, computer lab for special needs kids. When I was at Coconut Creek High, here's what I'm talking about taking the pivot, even in your job and what you're doing, how you can take it to the next level. I started the first newsletter for kids with special needs. I taught them how to do database, how to do word processing, how to use Excel. And guess what? I was learning it. That's the 90s. I was scared to touch a Steve Jobs all-in-one box computer back then. But thanks to Dr. Janine Gendrum, and when I was reading my resume that I submitted to Triple E High to Sarah Rogers, here's the point Gregory Griffiths wanted to make. I didn't know, because I was just so connected in my spirit, that God had me set up. Before I could even get home good, by the time I even submitted my resume, the lady called me up, came in, gave me an interview, and gave me the job. I stayed in that school 16 years. That's where I learned to be a speaker. That's where all my journals I was writing at Coconut Creek and Flanagan High School became a book. Here, Mr. G, now, I'm speaking truth as we wrap this thing up tonight. Get activated about your intellectual property. Get activated about your passion. Get activated about your purpose. And if you knock on the door, the universe will give you what I call, and I only mention it once tonight, live your P3 theory. When you ask yourself, what am I passionate about? Follow it. Because it's going to come right behind it, meaning it's your purpose. It was meant for me to teach kids. It just had to be. Just the way it all played out, the way it all worked for me. I don't regret it. I never made a fortune, but I made a difference as a teacher. I would always tell people that. Some of the most gratifying times in my life, other than being a parent myself, other than being a husband myself, other than being a brother myself, other than being an uncle myself, other than being a nephew myself. Let me tell you something, man. When the light bulb comes on with these kids, it's gratifying. Even as a 7-year head coach for cross country, when I used to jump out there and run 20, 30, 40 miles a week with these kids who are half my age, they used to think I was some kind of Superman or something. And 3 months later, God had me set up. Here's the point I'm making. I ran my first marathon. I didn't know them 3 months back in 96 would have me ready in January for the 1997 Miami Marathon. And every year after that, 2 marathons. What the point am I making tonight? When you love it, it loves you back. Have a passion about your physical. When you love it, it loves you back. Have a passion about your cognitive. When you love it, it loves you back. It'll go to that spirit in you. Love the God in you. Love the God in you. I got a hat that TD Jake sent me 3 years ago when I retired. Everywhere I go, every time I travel, even when I walk up my house right now, if I'm not all cleaned up, I slip that hat on. And it says, God first. Thank you, my hostess. The hostess, I guess she segued to it, and I have to put it on tonight. You know, I'm just going to wear it right now to wrap up the show. God first. You don't have to be religious, but you got to be spiritual. I highly advise you to join a church. I highly advise you to get a spiritual mentor. One of my spiritual mentors married me and my wife, Reverend Frank Kennedy. And here is the point I'm trying to make. If you don't stand for something spiritually, you're going to fall for something out there in the concrete jungle. I promise you, because your force field is not up. That's why I wasn't being funny, and I don't knock anybody, but when somebody say they're atheist, I go, whoa, whoa, I have to. Because I've seen miracles in my own life. My son Jonathan is a miracle. My son Greg Jr., a miracle. Against all odds. I stood up to speak about my granddaughter, and I looked out at my son's mom, Cheryl. And I remember I was a kid in high school with a baby on the way. I went to college as a freshman, and I was a daddy. Don't tell me I ain't been through something in my life. But I said to myself, get that paper, boy, so you can feed that boy. Get your paper. Boy, am I so glad. When COVID-19 came, I had $75,000, $100,000 in contracts, all canceled. I own a big strip mall over there in Brandon, Florida. Everybody left me. But I went online and kept teaching, and they kept giving me a paycheck. They deferred my mortgage payments for a whole year. Don't tell me you don't have to believe in this, because it can work beyond miracles. When I say Psalm 23 every day, before I walk out my door in Psalm 91, I'm serious about it because I live this. I may not be a religious fanatic, but I'm a spiritual fanatic. I'm just gonna tell you. And whatever I'm going through, it's only something to set me up for the next level. And it's all mindset. If you come out on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock, the Scribe Master class is about the who, what, when, where, and why in your life. We explore those. Totally different from this session you're having with me tonight. I get right into the core of it. I bring up statistical data, like why 50% of teenagers are spend half their day on their phones right now. The mental fatigue is causing the telephone. The cell phone is some people's best friend. Social media is their best partner. I walk out my gate here going to work sometime when I was going to teaching still, and I would see 60, 75 kids at a bus stop sometime and not nobody talking to no one. I get to my school, walk down the hallway past the cafeteria, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kids. Nobody, everybody just clicking and looking and clicking and looking. Maybe 10 or 20% of them had a book out reading something or chit-chatting with the next person around them. The great majority. And you don't need to be a victim of that circumstance because that's a slow way to stagnation. As I wrap it up tonight, I'm going to invite you out to come out on Thursday night to the masterclass. But next Tuesday, Junior Acosta, and I'm sure he's going to give an unconditional plug because I'm a member of it. It's called the Wolf Pack. And this man got a mastermind principle going right now about people coming together and synergizing to be as one. People coming together to just come to this place where I got something I can share, you got something you can share, and we can micro this thing and take it to the macro and grow. Remember, when you micro yourself and you go back to the macro, remember MICRO, micro, go to the macro, and you make your contribution to it, it's going to grow. But you can't go to the macro if you're stagnated. You can't go to the macro if you got the fear of failure winning. You can't go to the macro if you said, oh, no, not me. You can't go to the macro if you want to grow. It's all mindset. And tonight, I hope this is the first episode. Once a month, you'll get me like this on this show. Maybe more based on who I have as a guest. But every single week, you cannot tell me that I didn't activate you. I stopped you from being stagnated about something. I'll leave you with this tonight. I'm ready at 1 hour and I feel good about it. Here's the point I want to make. If you take my 24/7, 168, 14 hours a week challenge, out of your 24/7, 168 hours a week, if you carve out 14 hours of your week, that's 2 hours a day, man. And you say, I'm going to do 30 minutes of spirit growth. God first. I'm going to do 30 minutes of taking care of my body. Your health is your wealth. And I'm also going to put 1 hour into cognitive expansion. That's 365 hours. You can put more, but nothing less than the minimum, the non-negotiable minimum. Your life will never be the same. And the last book, I cannot leave it. I almost forgot about it. I don't know if you ever heard of Joseph Murphy. I'm unconditional shout outs tonight. 3 books I got. And every week when I come on solo, I'm going to try to bring about 3 other people speaking the truth. And this man, when I opened the book, and I opened the book up and I said to myself before I get out here tonight, sorry, you guys, I almost forgot it, but I can't just leave here and not share this with you about this little simple book, man. This book, the big old thick pages in it, it's 75 big old fat fonts. You know, it's not nothing huge or nothing big about it. But here's the point I want to speak to you about this. See, it is your right to be rich. I'm reading it straight out of this book now. Just trust me. And this man has sold millions of books. Take a look at it now, Joseph Murphy. Take a look at that, Joseph Murphy. Take a look at that. And it ain't me speaking, it's him speaking. Before I let you go tonight. It is your right to be rich. You are here to lead the abundant life and be happy, radiant, and free. You should therefore have all the money you need to live and lead a full, happy, prosperous life. There is no virtue in poverty. The latter is a mental disease. Poverty is a mental disease. When you see homeless people, there's something wrong with them. They're living with a horrible imbalance. When you see somebody, I've met some of the most incredible people who are homeless. I've taken my time out to try to help a man who was homeless, gave him my money, brought him my clothes, brought him warm dinners, even set up an arrangement for him to get help. And the day came for me to help him, and he didn't show up. And a couple of years went by, and I saw him walking on the north side of the town doing the same thing. A qualified brother with potential. And that's why he said it's a disease. Poverty is a disease. Let me tell you something. You're here to grow, expand, and unfold spiritually, mentally, and materially. You have the inalienable right to fully develop and express yourself along all lines. You should surround yourself with beauty and luxury. I'm going to leave you with that little simple little book. Joseph Murphy, How to Attract Money. Mindset. I just gave you a quick recipe to get from wherever you are now to wherever you want to be, to define yourself, activate your AI, remember your authentic identification, to definitely, without a doubt, define yourself, function at your maximum potential. And you believe me, trust me, the next level is always waiting. You only tapping into about 10, 12% of this brain, man. It's just open for expansion, totally open. So I start with music, I end with music, you know, and I want, and I think I have to say this. I have to say this all respectful to you. I'm gonna run this from the beginning. Keep doing the same things, you're gonna get the same results. Before I say good night to you, get activated. Oh yeah, let me have that. We got 250 years to celebrate coming up. That's right. Happy 4th of July. I won't see y'all till after it's over. Let me have one of those, Miriam. She's waving a little flag around. You know, when I was over there big, I was talking about Juneteenth, the Emancipation Proclamation, and all that we've been through in this country. But they can't stop you. John Lewis said it, that good trouble. They can't stop you. I am somebody, Jesse Jackson. And above all things, they can't stop you if you got a dream, like MLK would say. And every day should be like that for you, man. If those three people alone, you go back and watch their movies, or watch their talks, watch their documentaries, read some of their books. And the three people I shared with you tonight, Joseph Murphy, Jay Allen, and Hiram Smith. Woo! I got a book for you the next time. I got about 1,000 books in my house, so I'll bring some to you. So happy 4th of July over there on IG. Happy 4th of July. Wish you guys all the best. Go out and tell somebody about what we're doing on Tuesday nights now. The Activate or Stagnate Show. Your host, your boy, Gregory Griffin. See ya.